Hey, what's going on guys? John here, and today I wanted to do a video review for this Hotas. This is basically a universal setup that you could use to mount to a desk. So in this video, I'm just going to walk you through all the setup of this, give you some idea of what to expect, and I'll show you my setup here. So in terms of these particular devices, basically this is something that's a universal setup that just gives you a ton of flexibility in terms of how you're going to be setting this up. So everything is pretty much adjustable. You have out of the box, for me, it actually showed in the manual how to assemble this piece. So you have a plate here. This is actually what connects to the top of the desk. You have a mechanism here with a large flip piece that basically allows this rubber that hits the base underneath the desk to clamp this. So when this comes down, obviously I can now remove this. This one does need to be tightened a little bit more, but ultimately this is on a track. So these are basically track pieces. So this can be adjusted. There's 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, that you can move this up and down this track. So this kind of gives you some flexibility. So if you had a desk, for example, that was really thick, maybe it was like this thick, you can actually adjust this down to match where this is going to hit. So that's something that you'll first be doing. Second off, you have these 2 large rails that come down, and again, this is going to be identical for each one. These rails can be customized. You're going to have these 2 L-shaped pieces basically that hook in with 5 different screws. All of these are standard hex-based screws, so you'll probably even be able to use an existing hex wrench, but they do include it. And with this, I actually went with the lowest mounting point, and because I have a standing desk, I thought it would be kind of immersive to raise the desk. It's not quite at standing desk like height if I was to be standing with the desk, but more like in between sitting and standing. So I'm allowed to now sit in my desk. I'll actually stand back here. My setup's a little bit of a mess at the moment, but you can see I can now sit in my chair, and I have a 38-inch ultra wide. If we were to shut off the lights in here, you know, this is going to be pretty immersive. I have more than enough room to use both the stick and the forward, flight, side here, and this is going to work really, really well. For this whole setup. You also have 2 plates that this includes. So I was able to remove 2 existing screws here and then use some of the included hex bolts to just go right into where the existing screws were. This one, in my particular case, this is a Thrustmaster T-Flight system. This one I was only able to get 1 screw to work with the plate, but it's actually still extremely secure to the point that if I'm moving this and jiggling it around, you can see I'm being fairly aggressive here. The weakest point is basically my mounting up here, which I just need to tighten up a little bit more. So this is actually perfectly fine, even with 1 screw mounted into it very tightly. There is another additional version of the plate that you have. You have these 2 long bars that kind of go across on each side. So that may have been what I was supposed to use for this to match up with the screw holes, but overall this solution worked just fine. Again, same thing, you can adjust this. So essentially at this point you have this large piece, and this could now slide either way down the bar. So maybe you want this a little bit further, like towards the desk. You could choose to do that, but in this case I just kind of tried to match them as best I could, and that was how I did it. You also have these rubber pieces that came with mine that basically go on each end, because otherwise this could, if I like hit my knee on this or my hand, this could actually cut you or hurt you a little bit because it is like a very jagged edge. Overall, this is a really, really cool system. I was able to hook this up, as you can see. Normally this Thrustmaster Hotas system would have this clip connected in on this side, and this would all be together. Typically it's a little bit awkward playing like that. It's not like it's awful, but I found this setup is definitely a lot better. It feels a little more like how it's supposed to be. And if I wanted to again adjust this, I could actually raise this up the bar, and then I could lower my desk down if I wanted to. So in theory I could actually bring this all the way to the top here, and then I could bring my desk down. So for some of you, you might be thinking, well, I don't have a standing desk, I can't really do this, how's this gonna work? Am I gonna be sitting on the floor playing this? No, you can actually raise this up. So that's really the beauty of this system, is it has a lot of adjustability in terms of what you're gonna be able to do. I need to work on my wire management, but other than that, I'm happy with the setup here, and I think hopefully you guys got some value out of the video. I do recommend this system. I think if you're looking for something to mount your Hotas flight stick setup, this is going to be a good bet, because it just has a lot of universal compatibility as well as options in terms of how you want to configure things. Anyway, thanks for checking out the video, and I hope you found it helpful.